The campaign group against the high-speed rail link HS2 says works planned for Euston will have a catastrophic impact on existing train services with disruption for 10 years. HS2 Action Alliance, the lawyers, obtained copies of meeting notes and reports from talks between the train operators, the Department for Transport and Network Rail. Richard Houghton is campaign director at HS2 Action Alliance. Richard, welcome to the programme. You submitted FOI requests for what exactly?
For the communications between the DFT, Department of Transport, HS2 Limited, the company pushing HS2 through, and the train operators.
So this is a Freedom of Information request. You posted it in. What did you get back?
We got a whole collection of information, quite a large number of documents. And what it comes up with is the fact that the train operators are extremely angry about the impact of HS2's construction on the services they currently provide into Euston.
The word catastrophic has been used. It's quite substantive. I mean, what does that mean? Is it delays? Does it mean less trains?
It means nearly a quarter reduction, 22% in commuting capacity into Euston for 10 years, starting in 2016, and then a permanent reduction in platforms from 18 to 13 after that. So if you're commuting in from Watford, Hemel or Berkhamsted, you've got a decade of hugely reduced capacity, fewer trains, and a permanent reduction in capacity after that. And on top of that, they're going to have to reduce the amount of time that the trains are in Euston, so less time for servicing and cleaning in between journeys.
HS2, though, Richard, seemingly will go ahead. The government are hell-bent on it. Are you fighting a losing battle?
No, we don't believe so. I mean, this is just one example of the information as it comes out, the truth that comes out about HS2. So, the more that this comes out, the more people realise that it really is a white elephant. There's a couple of thoughts that are worth thinking about. It's a political project, not a transport project. The DFT, the Department of Transport, didn't want this. It was forced through by Lord Adonis, an unelected politician. And if you look at the public opinion polls, I think more importantly, with the general election a year away this May, 50-odd% of the country don't want it, and actually that opposition is strongest in the north. Oddly enough, where you guys broadcast is more supportive. But I think it's a political issue, so if they believe it'll buy votes, then they'll keep pushing it. But there's no real case for it as you get into detail.
We did ask to speak to Network Rail. They declined, but did send us a statement, and it says, capacity on the West Coast main line, especially at the southern end, is at a critical stage. Building HS2 is the only answer in town to develop the step change in capacity we need to fulfil the travelling needs of commuters in the years ahead. Goes on to say Euston is over 50 years old and gives passengers a poor experience and needs redeveloping. While building any major new piece of infrastructure whilst keeping day-to-day services running is difficult, it's not impossible. We should know, as we've done it at King's Cross, Blackfriars and Farringdon over the last few years. By working hand in glove with HS2, we will keep disruption to a minimum, as the long-term goal will be well worth it. Richard?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The capacity argument is nonsense. The West Coast Main Line is running at about 60% capacity at peak times at the moment in passenger capacity. If you're going into Paddington, you're running at 99% capacity at the moment. It's important, and the growth on the West Coast Main Line last year was zero in terms of the long-distance passengers, which obviously HS2 provides services for, because there's no stops between London and Birmingham. So they're not telling you the truth, and they're not being honest about the reality. I mean, the truth of the matter is our capacity issues on suburban commuter routes. So as I say, Milton Keynes to London, Watford, Hemel Hempstead, into Manchester and Leeds. A fast train that does not stop anywhere is not going to add capacity to suburban commuter routes.